Hi, this is Stephen Foskett. I'm demonstrating Dragon Dictate for Mac, and I'm going to show you some of my frustrations with the program. Now, the first thing I want to point out is this is actually the Dictate editing window right here. This is really the only place that you can successfully dictate, because Dragon actually keeps track of every change that you make, whether you do it with the keyboard or the mouse or anything. It actually does a pretty good job of recognition in here, except when it comes to unusual words. So I guess let's start there. We'll open a new notepad here, and we'll start dictating some things. This is a demonstration of Dragon Dictate for Mac, period. You can see here that Dragon Dictate actually recognized its own name incorrectly. You'll notice that it put a space between it the second time, comma, but the first time it actually put no space in between it, period. I have no idea why it did that, period. Correct put in. Correct it actually put in. Scratch that. I don't know what it's doing. It clearly got this word wrong. Delete the paragraph. Let's try that again, period. This is a test of Dragon Dictate for Mac, period. Correct Dragon Dictate for Mac. Here you can see that Dragon Dictate treats whole dictated phrases as a unit. And so you can't just correct one word, you have to correct the whole phrase. And it brings up this this menu here, none of which is correct. And when none of it is correct, what you have to do is you have to say it again. This is a test of Dragon Dictate for Mac. Correct that. This is a test of Dragon Dictate for Mac. Again, it cannot understand that I don't want a space there, because that's not the name of the program. Happily, in this mode, I can actually put a space there manually, and it'll be okay. It won't screw up like it will in other things. Let's try it with some unfamiliar words. Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Eighth Dimension, is a film about a neurosurgeon rock star who foils an alien planet. Oops. Scratch that. Scratch that. Who foils a plot by the red lectroids to take over the Earth. Period. Well, it doesn't know red lectroids, of course. So we're going to try to fix that. Now, there's no way to do it with dictation. You have to manually add it to the Dictate dictionary. And this is the incredible multi-step process required to do that. Ready? So we've had a word that it doesn't recognize, so we have to add it. So what we do is we have to switch to the Dictate menu if we weren't in the Dictate menu. Then under Tools, we have to select Vocabulary Editor. Now watch out, I've had it crash sometimes right here. Then we have to click plus, we have to type the word in. Now we can either hit Advanced and hit Train right now, but that requires targeting this little tiny thing, or we can hit Enter to add it to the dictionary, and then we have to right-click, click Train, Lectroids, Lectroids, Lectroids. Now we have to edit the vocabulary editor. When it saves the profile, I've had it max out my CPU and die. We get the beach ball here. It really doesn't inspire confidence, does it? And this is a pretty fast machine. This is a quad-core Nehalem iMac. I imagine that on a slower machine that might have taken quite a while. All right, let's try this again. Correct that. No, of course, I don't want to correct the period. I want to correct the sentence before that. Correct red lectroids. Correct red lectroids. Even though I just added that word to the dictionary, it doesn't appear in the correction. We actually have to speak it again. Who foils a plot by the red lectroids to take over the Earth. Correct that. Who foils a plot by the red lectroids to take over the Earth. Correct that. Pick 6. Whew. We finally have Dragon correcting the sentence, or doing the sentence correctly. Can you imagine how disruptive this is to somebody who's trying to actually get work done, you know, write articles? I write articles for a living. This is really, really frustrating. But if you want to see something more frustrating, let's switch over to the blog post here and show how Dragon gets completely screwed up when you're not in its little captive sandbox like this. New paragraph. New paragraph. You end up having to type new paragraph a lot because new paragraph resets the buffer so it kind of knows where it is on the line. Otherwise, it just goes crazy. Watch this. Now let's test Dragon Dictate. I have no idea what it's doing here. It missed the first word. It still didn't put the space between Dragon and Dictate, and it inserted a random character after the caret. It does this all the time when you're editing in WordPress. If I correct this, though, we get all sorts of bizarre problems. Correct that. Correct that. Now let's test Dragon Dictate. See, it actually deleted one of my letters here. It inserted this random character again in front of the caret. I have no idea what it's doing. I'm just going to hit Control-Z. I'm going to give it a little extra space here and try this again. Correct that. Correct that. It's totally screwed up. It thinks that my sentence begins way back here. It doesn't know where I am in the buffer. I wish it had an insert-only mode where you could say, just don't guess. Just let me handle it. New paragraph. This is totally frustrating. This is what happens when you're trying to use this product anywhere outside of its dictation window. It's supposed to be compatible with Microsoft Word, but in my experience, it doesn't work very well there either. Now let's demonstrate Dragon Dictate for Mac. Scratch that. Scratch that. Now let's demonstrate Dragon Dictate for Mac in the WordPress environment. Period. New paragraph. This is an attempt at using Dragon Dictate in a standard application, comma, as a user might be expected to, judging from the marketing materials that one finds on the internet, comma, or even the back of the box itself, period. You're supposed to be able to control your computer with this application, but if this is scratch that. If this is how well it works, comma, I can't imagine any user being satisfied with the experience. Period. New paragraph. I still can't figure out why it insists on inserting random letters after the caret. Scratch that. I still can't figure out why it insists on inserting random letters after the cursor. Period. I can understand that it gets confused when you move things around with the keyboard or the mouse, comma, but why did it insert that letter I? Question mark. And why did it go back and actually delete one of my existing characters? Question mark. Where exactly does it think it is? Question mark. Scratch it. Scratch that. New paragraph. So it's really a frustrating program. On the one hand, it does a really good job at recognizing a flow of conversation. I mean, look at this. It did a perfect job of editing and adding in these sentences. But on the other hand, it is ridiculously complicated to add a word to the dictionary, and it really falls apart when you're not using it in its little sandbox text editor. When you try to use it somewhere you might want to use it, like here in WordPress, it totally messes everything up. It starts deleting things that it didn't type. It's just completely out of hand. And look at this. It now decides that this is a capital letter instead of a lowercase letter. I'm not even sure where that happened. A minute ago, it was a lowercase letter. And we never wanted it in the first place. At this point, I just can't recommend this product. It's not very good. It is absolutely frustrating to use. It's ridiculously overpriced. The retail price is $199 with a terrible headset and USB adapter. they should drop the price to $50 bucks, put it in the Mac App Store, don't require their ridiculously non-functional headset, and fix the bugs, and then maybe it'd be worth a look. But at this point, I just can't recommend it.